Welcome back to ESL Pro League and the Xfinity Analyst Desk, and boy oh boy, it doesn't get any closer.
It's just like we predicted it.
I was gonna say,
from the start,
you guys nailed it to start the
nail
second
biter from start to finish, and yeah, you love to see it. Again, I guess in some ways we were right. We made our concerns about FNS in the lineup not being skilled enough to deal with the big boys, not having the greatest time versus Dignitas, which is not necessarily a really good sign of things to come, perhaps. And also, we talked about how we would have, or at least in my opinion, I would have liked to see Dignitas going the route of, again, focusing on the younger talents in the team and try to build them up as much as possible. And you see that they do have talent. Grim had an absolutely amazing game. He has been, for my worth at least, been the second or even best player on Dignitas so far in this Pro League season, together with Voltage. So yeah, no, again, like Dignitas would have had something to build off of. I think that would have been the way to go. But it does get them quite close to a victory, but not all the way over.
Does it hurt more to lose in such a close fashion when you had Grim playing a lights out game, you had everything going your way, or would it have been easier for them to just get blown out like 16-7 or something like that and just be like, yeah, that's pretty much how the season's going?
For a team like Team Dignitas, it would be easier just to get blown out of the water 16-7. Honestly speaking, like
first time you had a chance.
First time they have a chance against a team like Cloud9, and they were throwing a lot of rounds. They were losing the round. The Antigua schedule somehow managed to knife the bomb down at some point as well. It was a full USP round. There was a round more where Dignitas definitely should have won it, and they're going to be kicking themselves that they weren't able to convert those into round wins, because they ended up getting, was it 10 T rounds, I believe, 11 or 10 T rounds,
10, yeah.
And they could have gotten 13 or 14 even had they just won those Antigua rounds, and not losing to a knifing schedule. So they're going to be kicking themselves very hard of not closing out this game. This should have been like a Dignitas game that could have been won 16-5, 16-7 had they been more efficient and more clinical in their execution of basically the very key rounds of the game.
Yeah, no, it was. I could definitely get on board with that. Absolutely, I think it swung a bit back and forth as well because, like you mentioned, again, if Dignitas managed to pick up the two rounds after winning Pistol, which obviously Grim aced, second ace of his game. That could just propel them into an easy victory. But then on the other hand, I think one of the big swinging points was, I want to say round 11 or round 12. Well, I think it was 8-3. And Cloud9 up 4-2. A round they should close out without any issues whatsoever. They fumbled it about. Grim managed to clutch out what ends up being a 2v3 situation on the B-bomb side. At that point, Cloud9 finally managed to get a little bit of a footing into the game. They could have turned things around. I think at that point, that's where Dignitas lose a grip of the game if they lose that round, and Cloud9 just kind of deal with it in a easy enough fashion. But yeah, it's like one of those rounds that swing in Dignitas' direction that actually gives them an opportunity and gets them going for a bit. But I mean, again, when you get those opportunities, you need to capitalize on it later on, and that's what they failed to do. But I think that's more of a learning experience for a lot of these players.
We're not too hard on Cloud9 for having such a close game, are we? Do they get the benefit of the doubt and we're like, listen, they won in the end, it's not a big deal? Yeah. Or do you read into this a little bit more because of the criticisms of FNS coming in as the emulator?
It is a similar fashion as to, we can't necessarily harp on SK. I mean, with SK, we can talk about how they're not playing well, but I guess they got a couple of wins eventually, but they're not playing well, and that's just a matter of the situation they find themselves in. Again, everything's fresh. Similar thing goes with Cloud9, except they had a bit of an easier start to things. They had a couple of more wins yesterday.
I think this is something we're going to see a lot from Cloud9, the fact that FNS is not able to hold its own on the CT side. It's not going to be a problem on the T side. Every good in-game leader out there can manage to string around 5 to 6 rounds on the T side, no matter what circumstances, no matter what you have to work with, basically, as long as you're a great enough in-game leader and you are good enough at looking into the game. But when you go over to the CT side, you need to be skilled enough to hold on of your own, and I don't think FNS is skilled enough to go up against teams like FaZe, SK, Astralis, Fnatic, teams that Cloud9, challenge, in terms of being, a top 5 team in the world. Whereas if you can't even hold up against a team like Dignitas or like the majority of the NA teams, then you're gonna have big problems going up against the big European dogs, in that scenario. So CT sides is going to be Cloud9's biggest problem, and that's where they're going to miss Studio 2K so much in the future.
Let's move on to the next map really quick, because I know that they're starting to join the server and everything. Next map is going to be Mirage, open map. Cloud9's probably their best map in that run, earlier on this year. I mean, you have to say again for Dignitas, they have to have someone have an equally large impact as Grim. Is that even in the realm of possibility?
Again, I'm going to go negative, no. And again, I also think we talked about how, it's going to be tough for FNS to hold on to, or make worth of himself, really, in big games and whatnot. I don't think games like these are going to come around too often. I think we're going to see him be lackluster versus the better teams, but again, middle of the pack Pro League teams, or even bottom of the pack Pro League teams, he should be fine. I think this was more of an anomaly than anything else. So coming into Mirage, he's going to bounce back. He's going to get his frags, and Dignitas are not going to have another heroic game from either Grim or anyone else. Are
you? I mean, if you guys are on Cloud9 and coming into this, you're just like, we can't let that happen again. Let's just go destroy them. Let's just go exert our will. Is it going to be fast-paced, just aggressiveness, or are we going to expect them to have a little bit more respect to the game plan and gameplay?
Well, that's the fun thing, because if FNS weren't on the team, I would expect them to be just coming in, playing hearts out and just being fast-paced Counter-Strike and just give them no respect at all. But I think FNS, you just have it in the blood. You saw it on Cash as well. When it got down to 14-14, the T round Cloud9 were playing out was a classic FNS round, very slow-paced. Using all the utility, pushing away the guys from the map positions, and then figuring out what you want to do later in the round. Whereas the Cloud9 we know, they're just picking up a strat from the beginning of the round, doing it and see if it works. So it's a little bit of a conflict within the team and probably within FNS himself. Are we gonna do like I want it to be done in the future, or should we just do as Cloud9 is good at doing right now, and then maybe work on that later on? So I think the most likely scenario will be Cloud9 coming in just rumbling over Dignitas, fast-paced Counter-Strike, taking the duels, and this time around they're going to win them.
Yeah, it's going to be the similar case where it's going to be fast up until the point where fast doesn't work, and then you slow it down and let FNS go to work.
Does Cloud9 lose a step without Stewie? Like being known as one of the second, one of the most aggressive players, but can they still pull off that fast style if they only have? I think the only guy you'd think of that would be built for that kind of fast pace would be Tarek.
Yeah.
Automatic and Rush like to be a little bit more cerebral. Do they still have that fast pace in them?
I think it depends on the map. I think on a map like a Mirage, you're still okay to do so. It doesn't necessarily involve diving through smokes or iffy choke points of the map to actually get map control and so on. And you can still get up to a quick enough pace where you can get control over mid, you can get into connector without necessarily the biggest risk in the world. And I think Cloud9 should still be perfectly able to do so. I think it's more of an issue when you get into maps like Cobble and that kind of stuff, where you kind of want that random element of a Stewie being able to do stuff like that. And that's where we're going to see more of an impact on Cloud9's side.
Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna have Cobble up. I mean, not
Mirage.
I don't know why you just screwed with me like that.
I know I like to.
You said you were gonna ruin everything for me at some point. So now you've done it. I mean, this now just turns into the op. We saw kind of Roka picking it up. How are the new acquisitions? How are guys like Roka, A2Z fitting in? I know A2Z had a tougher game in terms of statistics, in terms of frags to overall, but do they bring anything to this team that we haven't seen in the Dignitas before?
Super weird to me to see that Roka actually was the one at times soloed holding the B bomb stuff with an op, because previously in the season we've seen Voltage do it, and I think he's been doing a pretty fair job considering how mauled Dignitas have been doing. He's been doing all right for himself. He's been able to mix it up from getting opening picks to actually having showing those flick shots and whatnot, and actually looking like a pretty prominent offer. So I was a bit worried about that. I hope they don't necessarily make him useless. Well, obviously he could probably still handle himself with the rifle, but I'd like to see him back on the op more so than
the bunny on our right actually told us that it's his own choice. He wanted to AWP and splice as well. He wanted to pick up the AWP, and that's why he inevitably ended up leaving the team, because they weren't allowing him to AVP basically. So now he's coming into Dignitas. He's coming in as the star player for that lineup, and he's able to do whatever he wants to. And I think Roka is kind of we talk about him being a guy who's been on countless of teams, never really making it work. This would be like the last chance for him, to redefine himself. Maybe he can be that hybrid AVP player and actually use his great movement to do something with that, and that'll be like the last shot in the cannon. So it could be what's ended up working for him.
Let's wrap those predictions up with it. You're gonna go with
Cloud9's gonna win.
Okay,
Cloud9's gonna win easy.
Easy?
Easy.
No double digits.
No double digits.
No,
we sure?
God,
Are we placing any bets on this? Because last time it didn't go too well.
I'm actually able to put something on it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll discuss it in the background.
All right. Well, map 2 is going to be beginning now. It is going to be on Mirage between Cloud9 and Dignitas, and we're going to be heading right into game because they're ready to get going pretty early on. We're going to send it over to Harry. Sorry, I was combining Harry and Rabbit as he did that. So,
well,
off that, take it away.
Yeah,
cheers. Please.
I'm just hopping with excitement. We're really looking forward to getting into this one, Jason. Thanks for that 10 out of 10 throw. Cloud9 versus Dignitas over on Mirage. Can Dignitas find it in them to have another good run here? Of course, they couldn't close it out over on Cash. They managed to get 14 rounds versus the major winners, Cloud9. And for Cloud9, I think they would like this one to be a little bit more tight knit. You have FNS, the new guy, the new in-game leader at the helm. Meaning, as you spoke about Pimp, their CT sides might suffer a little bit in that regard. But You imagine Mirage is one of their kind of focal points, right? It was a very, very good map for Cloud9 for the longest time. And I'm hoping, we can see them still live up to that now, even with FNS in this roster.
Mirage is also one of the more forgiving maps in that scenario, whereas if you have a player on the CT side who's maybe not as skilled as the rest of the guys, you can hide him away, in positions where he can be a support player. He can be playing catwalk, he can be the support player on A, or maybe even playing window, just running around and throwing the flashes for the guys. So it's easy to hide him away or even put him on the B bomb side, whereas even a less skilled player can always do some work, if he uses his utility in a correct fashion. So I don't think the CT side is going to be too big of a problem for Cloud9 with FNS on a map like Mirage, and that's also why I think Dignitas is going to have a much harder time of actually making a game out of this one.
Yeah, well, let's see how this does pan out. Pistol rounds underway. Roka's down in CT along with Mitch. They're playing a double CT setup, and for Cloud9 with 1 smoke, 2 flashbangs on the back of FNS. For me, I would see this maybe being some sort of B split. You could try using the, or maybe just a flat-out B player. I think you're kind of lacking the utility to go for too much of an execute over towards the A bomb site. They start to make their way through lower tunnels, though. So maybe look at to try and prove me wrong, in which case, you could definitely smoke for window or for short to keep an eye on it. But A2Z's boosted up. It's kind of the perfect counter to this play as they make their way in through lower tunnels. He spots them from atop his tower. Rush is the first to go down, and FNS does take some damage in the exchange, trying to make their way up through connector. Skadoodle going to answer back with one onto Grim. More damage inflicted, and Skadoodle's not done yet. A second kill to his name. Automatic homes in now on the players in CT. It's only Roka left here to try and make a stand. Him and Voltage, 2 versus 3. And actually, quick as you like, it all falls onto Roka. Down in CT spawn. The bomb's going to go down. 1v3 in the retake, not looking likely for him here. It's going to be a monstrous play so if he's able to pull this one off, especially with automatic down in connector. Bomb is going to be planted for him. And there's still a man hugging the site up close. That's going to be Skadoodle. Tagged down, finished off by FNS. Cloud9 find the pistol round.
There we go. Even Dignitas did the perfect, as you said, the perfect setup to counter that underground walk-up right there, but they weren't able to capitalize off it. Skadoodle coming in with 2 very important kills, and then Automatic taking over the entire round, getting 2 very important kills as well. It was just a great display of individual skill in that scenario, and that's what Cloud9 has, and that's what we're going to see in Mirage. It was a great showcase of proving the point that Cloud9 are just better player by player. They're winning more duels, and they're better at taking those duels and converting them into round wins, and that's what we're going to see on a map like Mirage that offers a lot of these duels. Dignitas is now forcing up a Scout as an SNG, 2 Deagles and a CC. It is a very dangerous buy, so Cloud9 still has to be careful of how they approach this round.
Yeah, the man I'm thinking could do damage once again, as you would kind of come to expect, is Grim up on short with that Deagle. He's going to be Molotov'd away. And Cloud9, they're taking control of mid, taking this round slowly. As you said, the buy on Dignitas, might be a force, but it's nothing to mess around with. Smoke down over at the top of connector. They're going to go ahead and push on up into connector now to grab control of this. Look to try and split once again into this A bomb site. A2Z and Mitch to hold back the coming tide of Cloud9 players. They get by entirely for free, and actually A2Z just going to offer himself up to the gods. Mitch goes down as well. 3v5, and I think Dignitas Edge is going to save.
And that's all they can do in this scenario, trying to keep the armor, trying to keep the pistols, and taking the Scout into next round, so they may not can do some economical damage going into round 3. Cloud9 seems to be in full control, seems to have an idea of what they want to do, and it's fun sometimes to sit here and think, and something that I realize is the fact that you can often see whatever a team is prepared or not just by looking at the first 3 rounds. If they win the pistol, do they have a set in the stone plan for the Antico round? If they do they execute it well? And if they do, how is it going to look in the first buy round? You can easily judge a team of how they're playing just by the first 5 rounds normally. Obviously, there's some kind of pedigree to it, whereas, yeah, it could be unlucky. There could be some duels that you may want to win next time, but often you can see the silver lining of how teams are going to perform throughout a game just by watching the 5 rounds and how they approach them. They may not win them, but they may do stuff, that makes you think, okay, this is going to work later on in the stage or later on in the game. And that's something you can see already now for Cloud9. They seem to have a very clear-cut plan of how they want to approach it. Even though FNS has only been with them for 2 days, he still seems to have some sort of kind of impact, or at least knowing how they're playing, so he can fit into this U2K role. Let's not forget that Mirage were one of the maps that Cloud9 were beasting on during the magical major win.
Yeah, this was one of their staple maps for the longest time. Ooh, this connector stack could do damage, though. Yeah, 3 of these players being on the upgraded pistols. So the nades, Pimp. Look at them go. A2Z and Mitch both going to be tagged very, very low on the back of that. They do have the man advantage in the retake, though. No kills yet to come in for Cloud9, and actually Roka's going to get rid of automatics. Now suddenly Cloud9 sweating under the collar a bit here. Thankfully, Skadoodle and Rush mop things up. Roka goes peeking into this. A second kill with a Deeg, and that'll be it for him. Cloud9, 3-0. They find the pistol, convert the 2 anti-ecos, and now the buy comes in for Dignitas.
This is where we get to see what they're made of. I'm going to be very interested to see how they approach this, because Cloud9, as we talked about, if Dignitas have done their homework, they probably want to play fast. They probably want to go straight ahead, you know. So why not challenge them? Why not go up middle and see if you can disturb the plan that Cloud9 has, and you know, instead of waiting for stuff to happen, then make stuff happen. And that's what I would have wanted to see from Dignitas this time around. Instead, they're going to forge a aggressive play towards the slope area. They have 2 guys pushing down right now. Tarek is here hiding behind the smoke, and there's going to be a duel right here in a few seconds. As soon as that smoke blows out, there's probably going to be a flash or at least a duel taking place, and we'll see whether he's going to be able to win that one. Unless they smoke it up once again. I don't understand why they're playing 2 guys close on the A-bomb side and having a guy on fire if they're not able to gain any map control or do anything with it. In that sense, it just seems like a wasted manpower, as middle is completely open right now. They have no control over it. They could be boosting up in the window. They could be walking up in connection. They have no idea, Dignitas, so they're gambling a lot right now. And I'm not sure I like that. Mitch getting the first kill, though. That is the start they want. Now Tarek, see if he can walk up and find a guy. And he does find Voltage being completely left in the open. The communications from Team Dignitas doesn't seem to be on point right here. And Tarek is burning up A2C, getting another kill. Now Mitch getting the reflect, but they know he's now locked inside the apartment. And that's going to be easy for Rush to call out for his teammates. And the 2 other guys should be on B-bomb side. So Dignitas putting themselves in a very tough position to turn this one into a win.
It's not going to be easy, especially as Rush gets rid of the rising star, Grim. Bomb plant going to come on in. Mitch is still up in Palace, but they've got FNS holding it down the fort for the time being. Roka's able to win that fight out, though. Now we're 2-on-2. He's in CT, and Mitch is up in Palace. Perfect position to actually pincer on into this. A lot of responsibility going to fall onto Skadoodle to land that shot, and he will. So now Mitch 1v2 with Skadoodle. Second kill on the no-scope. 4th round for Cloud9 locked in. And that'll be them 4-0 up. Now, the one thing I think that, you know, could bode well for Dignitas here is this is a very good map for Roka, at least. If you look historically, it was a map that Splice used to love to play. So he's got, you know, mountains of experiences versus teams of all different calibers on this map. And, you know, he's kind of been one of the players who has at least been doing something in these first few rounds.
I mean, the only thing he got experience in playing in Splice is basically losing, Harry. So ooh, I'm not sure it's going to be...
There's the savage pimp that I know.
No, but let's be honest. You may be right that Roka is a great talent. He seems to be having a lot of great mechanics to his game. But again, a player that we talked about in the pregame as well, who never really managed to drive it to anything, basically. So going into a server and losing a game doesn't make you a star, but trying, I guess, does in some worlds. So Roka needs to be redefining himself, and I think that's why he's in Dignitas right now. I think in that sense, it's a great match for them both, because Roka is going to have to take a step down if he wants to take 2 steps forwards later in his career. And yeah, in that scenario, Dignitas is a very great team to be part of.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you think about it on paper, right, like, you know, especially with how these rosters have been doing in their respective leagues, Dignitas arguably the worst lineup, right? So it was sort of like a Kirby to North situation, one that not many people would have. I mean, you know, obviously to a lesser extent, given that not many people keep up with Roka, but you know, not many people saw this coming, and it's one that, as you said, 2 steps back in order to no, sorry, 1 step back in order to take 2 forward. That is going to be a 5th round for Cloud9 anyway. They go ahead and keep things clean. Dignitas now in with the buy. Voltage has himself an AWP. A2Z going to be picking that up as well. And that's a little bit curious, not only knowing for donning the AWP on this roster.
We're going to see it again. Cloud9 opting to go for something very fast-paced and aggressive towards this 8-bomb side. As you can see on the minimap on your left right now, Team Dignitas is going completely wrong of that scenario. They're currently doing a double stack on the B-bomb side, leaving A open, and it's going to be the easiest walk-in ever to 8-bomb side for Cloud9. It's going to be a 5 versus 5 retake scenario unless Automatic goes down a little bit unlucky right here. A2C is close to finishing off that one. Now, Bomb is down very early to the round. You can see all the utility that Cloud9 still has left. It's going to be very tough for Team Dignitas to do anything about this retake scenario.
We might be in a situation where everyone lives. Save looks like it's been called in. Maybe as Roka finds that, they change their tune. But no, Tara going to answer back with one. Down into CT. Now they lose Roka to FNS. And suddenly they get picked apart one by one. Now they save. The two AWPs run for the hills. And I mean, they kind of ran into that spot, you know, where you're kind of hesitant as to whether or not you're going to go for the retake. They kind of dilly-dally back and forth. And that's, you know, pretty much their downfall there. They spend so much time deciding whether or not to go for it that when they do start to make their way in, you know, times tick low, they're under pressure. And, you know, had they just kind of dedicated to the save call earlier on, they would have had a lot more into this round. But hindsight being 2020, it is what it is. A2Z now has the AWP. And it's just going to be a partial buy-up around it.
You can only be admiring the fact that Dignitas is actually trying to do something this time around. They went for the B stack, double boosting inside the B apps and trying to get a peek over there. So had Cloud9 done a default, then they may would have been working. But on the other hand, as you said, you know, hindsight, just you know, Cloud9 is not a team that normally on Mirage, you know, plays the default. They always pick a side or pick a thing to do, and often it surrounds middle or A bomb side. So I mean, a big gamble to make at a position where you're down 5-0 is maybe not the call I would have made, but you gotta admire the fact that they're actually trying something and not just, you know, standing by and watching them die. And that's a lot of teams, you know, that could learn from that that mentality, I guess, Dignitas is bringing into this Pro League season. They may not get the wins, but at least they're trying, Harry.
That's very kind outlook on the scenario from a very savage man.
Yeah,
but
it'd be nice too.
Here's Rush. He's going to go to get rid of it out of connector. This is, of course, just a partial wrap around the AWP, so I'm not expecting too much, but they would love to do some damage. I don't think you can really let this one slip by and be a clean round for Cloud9. So ATZ going to do what he can with the AWP. This flank from Grim could actually be pretty massive. He gets the information as to what's going on, although, oh, this could actually be the misinformation. He's cleared all the way in through T-spawn. The only issue is they're down in mid, and if they get a B now, they get that site for free. And Dignitas has to save on these players. Nice shot from Roka. 8 HP, backed into a corner. FNS peeks out with the bomb on his back. That was a dangerous fight to take, but he's able to win it out. The only issue is Grim's got on this flank, and I'm not sure. They might suspect there being a man over on Ramp or Palace on account of those not being cleared out, but now he comes in with the peek, and yeah, missed shots. A2Z last man left, 1v3. Just going to go ahead and save. Cloud9 going to go up 7-0.
Yeah, and it sort of looks like what we saw on Cash, you know, just the other way around now. Team Dignitas were in full control on Cash, and now it's Cloud9 who is being in full control right here on Mirage. I haven't really seen anything that suggests that Dignitas is gonna make 8 rounds or gonna make a mini comeback into this half. It's looking a little bit dire for them, and Cloud9 seems to be in full control. They seem to be having a clear plan of what they want to do, and once again, you can see the fast pace they're going in with. The bomb is going straight to A, so is for them. A guy's gonna go out middle, make some noise, and then they're gonna hit A side straight away. And once again, Team Dignitas, you know, this time around they're trying to take that mid control. They're trying to do something about it. But the problem for them is that there's five men concentrating around this mid area, and Cloud9 is about to walk up on A side once again without even being contested. So, despite Dignitas trying, they're just not making the right calls at the right times right now.
Yeah, it almost feels like in this scenario they need to kind of commit to going for this. Like, you know, they have so many players dedicated to mid. But you can't just hold them there. You know, if you're going to stick, you know, 4 or 5 players over a mid as they have, you kind of want to be taking the information, going for that play. And they hold the top of mid, which has meant this A bomb site was just open for the taking. This is, of course, as you pointed out, the second time now Cloud9 has gotten away with this. But that is that's different. Roka and Mitch able to find 2 on the entry. Tarek tries his hardest to answer back. Minor advantage up for Dignitas, but time has ticked down low. They have to be very quick now. An automatic tries to put an L in the coffin. That's A2Z to go down. Grim follows suit. There's no time. Dignitas have to save, and Cloud9 going to be on to an 8th round. And money becoming now a reoccurring problem as well for Dignitas here.
Yeah, and it's not like Dignitas are not winning the duels or not able to convert that into round wins. It's basically just Cloud9 outplaying Liquid, not Liquid, sorry, Team Dignitas right now. Every time they go for some sort of play, some sort of aggressiveness, then Cloud9 is just going to be on the other side of the map, and it seems like they're reading into their minds right now. Now, Cloud9, you know, they've been playing very fast and very fast-paced Counter-Strike in that scenario is always great. And I just want to see them, you know, take one round where they just slow down and figure something out. And I think that's what we're going to see right here. Take some mid-control and figure out, you know, now we've been playing very fast. We can now slow down, take mid-control, and then figure out something out, you know, just to change up the pace and make Dignitas second doubting. And while that is happening, for the first time, Dignitas is not making one of those you know, gambles or stacks on any of the bomb side, and once again, you know, Cloud9 is just one step ahead. Now, FNS going down inside the B-Apps area, that's not the best way to start up the round, but Dignitas finally with an opening, and maybe they're able to convert this into a round win for the first time in this half, Harry.
Yeah, well, they've started off with a man advantage. First time, I think, in this game where we've really seen them in a favourable position off the bat, although Cloud9, they've taken a lot in response. They might have got a man down, but they've got a lot of control over here towards mid, although that's a nice shot found by Mitch. Onto Rush, as now suddenly the pressure falls onto the remaining Cloud9 players to try and find something somewhere. They might have control in mid, but now they're 2 men down. So they've sacrificed a lot to get this control, and the foothold they have isn't anything to write home about just yet. Tarek over here in connector. He's going to be spotted as he peeks out. Another nice shot from Mitch. Not usually an AWP. Seems like Dignitas just sort of feeling it out, passing this AWP around, and Mitch has had a good run with it in this round. Just automatic and Skadoodle left. Bomb down over a mid, and they're not even moving. 20 seconds on the clock, and going to start to creep in towards A. Going to try and make something happen. Skadoodle's up on the stairs. Only 10 seconds. They have to be quick. You can't imagine a world in which they get this bomb down, especially with a man in the back of the site. That's Skadoodle to hit the deck. Automatic tries to do what he can, but he'll get finished off. And Dignitas, you know, you spelled out at the beginning of the round on the back of that, the first couple of frags that came in from Roka. They find themselves around.
The most important thing for Dignitas in this scenario is the fact that they're able to stay 4 guys alive, which means that they're not in a reset scenario should they lose this round. They are going to be a little bit hurt on the economy, but they should be able to buy up at least 3 rifles and some guns in next round should they lose this one. So taking a little bit of the pressure off of Team Dignitas' shoulders right now. Could they manage to win this one as well? That could be the start of something great. Start of a little mini comeback on the CT side. That said, though, Cloud9 seems to have a clear plan of what they want to do. Again, mid control is being contested, and again, Dignitas trying for some sort of play. Now pushing 2 guys up in BFs, I believe it is. Having control over that area is definitely great, and they're constantly being productive and proactive, which is great. You know, you much rather want to be proactive than reactive in Counter-Strike in most scenarios, and that's what Dignitas is doing right now. They basically have all the information they need in order to win this round and mess with Cloud9. So I'll be surprised if we don't see Dignitas coming in with a second round in a second. Grim in a very good position here to mess up with Cloud9. He's going to find Tarek in the back right about now, and also getting the second one. No, playing it smart, smoking himself off and just staying alive. That's what I like to see. Smart boy with a good aim. That's something we don't have too much of Counter-Strike right now, so that's great.
Yeah, Mitch is able to... 3 big kills. Lovely stuff from him. And that's enough to wake me up. Now automatic. 1v4, but Grim doubles down. And as you said, smart boy with a good aim. Probably my favorite quote of the night.
They don't exist anymore. There's not a lot of them left, my friend.
No, yeah, CS feels like it's in a bit of a turbulent time right now, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It's all over the place. Anyone can win, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Had this same discussion with Chad earlier on the EU stream, and he just said how we need to have, you know, heroes and villains in CS. We need teams that consistently win to build good storylines, and that's true. But you know what? Speaking of storylines, this round is a real page turner. Mitch having to open up, and oh, he's been on fire with it. Okay, Mitch, not normally an AWPer, but my God, is he making it work now? 3 massive kills. He's going to go in for more. He's not done yet. He's hopped, skipped, and jumped into the FNS, and suddenly he's gone down. So we'll be 2 on 3. Still fantastic stuff from him. Automatic and FNS left alive, and Automatic now donning the AWP for Cloud9. Not his usual habitat, but he can make it work. Roka's in CT along with Grim. That nade Ooh, that does great damage. Spots out Grim. Now Roka, but the peek on over the top prevails, and Dignitas, they managed to lock in another 3 to 8 as they chain it 3 in a row.
Finally got Cloud9 under some sort of control by the back of Mitch. You see him being very, very aggressive through the smokes and hitting the shots. You know, absolutely great to see him. Another 3K right here from him. That's the second round in a row. And all of a sudden, Team Dignitas seems like a team that is able to fight against Cloud9. For the first time, they're going to have an anti-eco, which means they are only going to be having CCs and pistol. They have a lot of nades and a lot of utilities, so it should end up on doing some damage to Dignitas, and that is the goal for this round. If you're Cloud9 right now, you're happy with having 8 rounds, but you want to make sure that Dignitas is not spinning out of control, where their economy is getting built up to a point where you can't really control it anymore. So if they can get 3 kills in this round, despite not winning it, maybe that'll be enough for Cloud9 to go into the next round feeling confident that if we win this, then the economy is being pressured straight away back on the spot. So there's like these little small games within the games to take attention and pay attention to all the time, and this is one of them, you know. Mitch is very unlucky about not dying right here, and so is Skadoodle. He's going down immediately, and that's automatic, sorry, going down to Mitch. That was a little bit of a rough duel. It wasn't pretty. AC2C is neither finding the frags. Right now, it's a little bit messy. Cloud9 getting down the bomb plant, getting some money in the bank, but not getting the kills, as I talked about. And that's the most important thing right here. They want to make sure that Team Dignitas doesn't survive all 4 guys, and they do right here, which is going to be a problem in the sense that even if a Cloud9 wins in the next round, then Dignitas still have a decent amount of money to buy up to, so they can't force them into another anti-eco scenario. Look at the scoreboard now. Grim, he had 32 frags on Cash, and now he's sitting on 2 and 8 right now. So it may have been a one-hit wonder right there, which is, you know, not what you want to see. You want to see the young stars, you know, consistently coming out and showing the world how good they actually are.
Yeah, but there's been a new awakening on this Dignitas roster. It's been Mitch. And, you know, he's someone who can definitely don the AWP, although hadn't been doing it within Dignitas. And, you know, even if you kind of look back to his time on Splice, the team that he was in before this, along with like a brief stint in I think I can't actually remember the name of like the small mixed team he was a part of, but regardless, he you know, wasn't someone who we saw picking the AWP up consistently. It seems like he's hit some sort of like new awakening with this gun. He's having a fantastic time of things thus far for Dignitas. Cloud9 set up over here toward this B-bomb site. That's a good shot from Skadoodle, but are they ready for Roka? He bides his time up on the platform, the old bait and switch, and this is perfect. Finally going to snuff out Skadoodle, was looking for another, but F&S now backing away, didn't give anything up. 4 on 4, could have been a worse situation there for Cloud9, where the timing's just a tiny bit different. So they're kind of thankful to get away with only losing Skadoodle there. Now they're wrapping up into Connector. Mitch is here in CT, and he's been unfaltering. Spots the first on the cross, automatic going to be there to trade. Mitch monitors off the close angle, tries to isolate the engagement and take the fight with Rush. Missed shot. Bomb trying to cross into the site from ramp, though. It's a bit of a steep angle. Nice shot from F&S, finds Mitch, and now it's Grim and Roka at 2 versus 3.
It's going to be very tough for them to retake in this scenario. Now Roka is coming down inside the connector area, and he's going to find a duel against, I believe it's Automatic standing over there. And he's going to win it. Nice shot from Roka, and that opens up the round. The bomb is still not down. There's no smokes left on Cloud9. This is going to be very tough for them to win this one. They're going to have to win this fight in CT spawn. We'll see if Grim is going for it. He's out of confidence. I would have taken that duel any single day, Grim, right there. He would have done that as well had he been on 32 frags as he was in Mirage. And that's not good to see right there. Now going in for the retake. He is going to fall down to Rush. It's left up to Roka once again to be the savior of the day. He has one flash to work with. He's going to throw that in. See if he can catch F&S guys. He does not get the kill. Cloud9's win another round on the board. And despite Team Dignitas not being down on money, every single round at this point is just going to be another nail in the coffin for Team Dignitas. 9 rounds already is already a great result for Cloud9. And every single round they get from this point is basically just a little bonus system for them.
Yeah, and a 9th for Cloud9, but I mean, you kind of felt that was Dignitas' round to win. And it was Cloud9 to haul it back. Now Mitch going to try his hand at aggression over into mid, but that nade, he eats that nade. Keeps creeping forward. Not deterred by the 50 damage he took on the back of that HE. Oh, Automatic's head right there. No, none of them have seen each other. Finally going to react. Okay. Please don't tell me it was, I don't know. That was sloppy. That was sloppy, Pimp. You looked away for a second. I think you're probably going to be glad you missed that. But still, Mitch was able to get himself one. At least he didn't just go down. Now they're going to run boost across. No one there to see that spectacle. Always love the top mid run boost.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful when you use the game's mechanics to do something that's actually beneficial for you in the game, and you just like to see it, especially when it works. You know, you saw Guardian and I think it was Katarich where he got boosted on Cash and got a double kill.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Like absolutely amazing. You know, so it's great to see those small details being put into use, and also in the professional games, not only on the streams around the world, but actually players, you know, who are using them to their own beneficial.
Well, now it's Grim, the man who had the performance of a lifetime over on Cash. He said it might just been a one-hit wonder. You needed him to kind of roll back the years there, and it's not the case. He goes down after getting one. Could have been worse. Skadoodle's over on short, but it's a very lengthy flank from A2Z. They tag each other in through the boxes, and it's actually Roka to come up worse in that fight. And now they've waited around a very long time for A2Z to get in a position here. They're kind of relying very heavily on him finding something. If they waited around and this is all in vain, then that would be devastating. Roka's able to open up. Time's ticking, like they have to be quick here. I mean, they don't have a lot of room for error now, and Voltage yet to take a shot. Finally drops out automatic, but the time's tick so low, they have to get on this bomb. Skadoodle goes through, and that's a quick shot onto Voltage. He's done it, I think. I think he just locks in the round for Cloud9. Yes, he does. A 10th on the board. A fantastic shot from Skadoodle. Sometimes you only need to land one, and that makes all the difference.
Skadoodle, the inactive Cloud9 player, making all the difference. It is great to see him, despite, you know, announcing that he's going to be inactive for an unlimited time. We don't know, you know. We have no idea where he's going, if he's staying at Cloud9 or he could be potentially be a prospect for this new lineup. Maybe they haven't decided yet, but he's, as of right now, officially inactive member of Cloud9's CS squad. Still great to see him, you know, coming in, being a stand-in, and actually delivering on the high level he had been delivering on, especially during the major as well. So kudos to Skadoodle. Credit where credit is due. Now Dignitas is down 4-10 against Cloud9. It's looking very rough for them, and they desperately need this round, despite them only having a FAMAS, a Scout, a Deagle, and 2 CCs. This is one of those rounds that could, you know, be a deal breaker for them if they get it. Now Mitch is sneaking up on Tarek. I don't think he knows where he is, and he does not. Mitch getting the first frag. Skadoodle getting a refrag on Grim. Now they know where they are. A2C and Mitch caught in connector, and I'm having a hard time seeing how this is going to end up in Dignitas' favor. Trades going back and forth, and there we go. Cloud9 finishing first half, getting 11 rounds on this T-side on Mirage. Harry, I feel Cloud9 was in control the majority of the time. Dignitas had a short amount of period where they won 3 rounds in a row, but that was it. And it was on the back of Mitch, as we see on the screen right now, having some insane rounds with David P, but as soon as that stopped, you know, Dignitas really have nothing else to offer on this map.
Yeah, I mean, the one silver lining, I guess, if you were looking for one for Team Dignitas, is that Cloud9, we saw they had a much better T-side performance over on Cash in comparison to their CT side. Will the 11 rounds they got now be enough? The good thing for them, you'd imagine, is that they've churned up quite the momentum, and they've kind of slowed the morale of Dignitas down. The one manner you can really see that in is Grim. You know, obviously had a monstrous performance in the previous map, and in this one he's been pretty quiet. But is 11 rounds enough?
It's a good question. I do tend to believe that 11 rounds is more than enough for Cloud9. Okay. I do feel the Mirage, as we talked about in the beginning, is one of the more forgiven maps of weak CT players. FNS can definitely be a great support aspect in this team and elevate some of the other guys' play. So I think we're going to see Cloud9 finishing this game fairly quickly. I'd be surprised if this goes to double digits. I wouldn't put my money on Betway in double digits.
Okay, there we go. Fighting words from Pimp. Tarek going to be doing damage in this round. Finds himself one. Skadoodle's up through connector very quickly. Roka here to keep an eye on it, but Skadoodle's already emerged. He's only got one bullet, has to be careful. Oh, he's going to land it. One bullet in the chamber, and he makes it work. It's all on Roka, 1 versus 3. And he gets sandwiched in. Skadoodle hits the wallbang there with the USP. I didn't even know it was wallbanging with the USP, I'll be honest with you. But apparently it is.
And so I guess that was the one thing Dignitas needed to get going for them. That was the pistol round. If they wanted to initiate a comeback and actually believe in the fact that they were able to take on the major champions and bring a game back that they heavily deficiting in, then a pistol round would have been needed. Unfortunately, not going to happen this time around. Grim still sitting on 4 frags in total. A little bit of a shame, you know, because he was really playing so well on Cash, especially that ace with the pistol. You call it yourself, you know, one of the best aces we've seen this season, if not the best. So a little bit of a shame to see him not being able to pick up that pace once again.
Yeah, I feel like things can only really go from bad to worse here for Dignitas in this matchup at least. One thing I will say though is looking at, like, you know, how this roster shuffle is going to affect them for the rest of this season. I think you know, they do look like a better team because of it, and I am excited to see them maybe go versus a team that, you know, one that we would say who's also kind of competing to stay out of relegation, just to see how they fare there, because I think they were probably one of the weakest teams in the division, if not the weakest, right? I mean, they basically won no maps, and you know, it kind of paints in a very negative light. And then, you know, suddenly you get 14 rounds versus Cloud9 upon making this roster shuffle. So I do think it's benefited them, and I'm excited to see them play throughout the rest of the division. But,
yeah, definitely agree. You know, there's something to be brought out of this game, especially the Cash game. You can be happy about the performance and take something away with it. Unfortunately for them, they should have won it, or at least gotten a point, getting it to 15. But they weren't able to this time around. And as you said, you know, I'm looking forward to see them again play against a team like Rogue, or play against a team like I can't even remember who they haven't played, but down there in the rankings, you know, to actually showcase how good are they when they face a similar level.
I don't think they've played Ghost yet either.
Ghost and Rogue, I believe they have back, yeah.
So yeah, they have a reasonably forgiving few teams to play. This one is just going to be Decimation, and it's kind of devastating actually, because they bought into this round. And oh, those SMGs get it all done. Cloud9 14-4. No money here for Dignitas. This is where the problems really do start to hit home for them. No money. They're broke. And
no money, no funny, Harry. That's what my friends always say, you know. No money, no funny.
There we go. No money, no funny. That's yeah, it's pretty true. Being poor isn't fun. I can tell you all about that. I was a student for a while. You know,
all been.
Just eating microwave noodles every day of your life is a pretty depressing way to go.
Well, you still do it, so.
Yeah, but I mean now they're branded at least, you know, so that makes all the difference to the flavor.
You definitely achieved some great status in life, Harry. Now, that can be said about you, but not Team Dignitas. Currently leading the pace is Cloud9, 15-4. It's gonna be a quick one. We talked about it. None of us believed in double digits, and I think rightfully so. Mirage is just not a map that is forgiven, you know, if you don't win those duels, if you don't, you know, play it accordingly as you want to. We saw Cloud9 coming out and swing on the T side and being absolutely stunning. Now on the CT side as well, seems like they're in full control. And I'm having a very hard time seeing how Dignitas is going to be able to bring up 11 rounds in a row. Maybe you can try to work with that one, Harry.
Yeah, I'm a big optimist. I'm a big believer in rooting for the underdog as well. But I think this is even one that I'm going to struggle to build much of a backing behind. Dignitas, yeah, they need 11 rounds consecutively. Right now, they've struggled with getting more than 3 in a row. Cloud9, 2 players decide to say bomb site. Dignitas, if they want to maybe try going in fast, especially now as Mitch starts to sell this fake. That's pulled the rotation in from Rush. So there's only Automatic and Tarek here. Starts to creep on in. Tarek's able to find that first frag at 2A2Z. The trade goes in. Automatic. Gonna fall at the hands of Roka. Mitch answers the call as well in towards that B bomb site as he deals with the brains behind this operation. Skadoodle doesn't last long. Now it's Rush 1v3. Molotov up into Palace to try and force voltage off the angle, but it does not. Dignitas, they managed to find a 5th. Now they only need 10 more in a row, Pimp.
10 more in a row. I do believe I said this yesterday, but it does feel like a scenario where, like, you know it. You've been out driving, and all of a sudden a bird jumps in front of you.
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
this is such a good analogy.
Yeah, I like it.
It applies to so many. You know, you run.
It can be used in so many different ways as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So like you hit the bird and it's almost dead, right? But it's still bluffing a little bit, and that's what Dignitas is doing right now. It's still, you know, showing signs of life, but inevitably you know it's gonna die at some point. So why not break the neck straight away and get it over with? That is the way Cloud9 want to do it right now. And, you know, Dignitas, they stand really nothing to win besides, you know, getting a feel for the game and getting some more experience. That's what we talked about. When you face a team like Cloud9, that's not the team they're supposed to win against, but that's the team that they're supposed to fight up against. So they have Ghost and Rogue back in the league, and that's where we get to see the real Dignitas level after this roster move.
Well, FNS, he's looking to try and do, as you said, snap the neck. And he's opened up with 1. That's now forced Dignitas to have to change their sights away from that B-bomb site. They're going to take control of mid. But Tarek and Skadoodle are forced to be reckoned with down here in Connector. Skadoodle able to find that shot over the top of the smoke. No opportunity to trade. Native C going to get tagged down as well. Things go from bad to worse right now for Dignitas. Tarek peeks on in and gets rid of the man in mid. It's all onto Voltage. 1v5. Last man alive. A nice quick flick out to Tarek. But that's it. Skadoodle comes in with the trade in Cloud9. A dominant performance from them. As they manage to win out Mirage. It looks much more convincing than that game over on Cash. They get it done in a dominant fashion. 16-5. They'll take that all day long. And, you know, I have a few guys here who can break this one down for us. How are you guys doing?
That was the most unconvincing throw.
Yeah, I know. I kind of gave up. I really like botched the joke I was going for, and you know, Pimp deserted me to flee over there back to Halvor. So
it's all right. One day,
yeah, my confidence is just through the floor right now, Jason. It's all good.
One day you'll get there.
Harry? What's going on?
I don't know.
Welcome back to the Xfinity Analyst Desk. Yes, that did look much easier than Cash, certainly. I mean, I guess the first thing we can start out with, Grim had an impressive, amazing performance on Cash. Used up everything he had. You hate to see that. Really flat on map 2.
Yeah, going from 32 frags to 3. Yeah, no, especially talked about leading into this, you know, could he potentially have another game like that? That was a resounding no on his end. We did get to see, I guess, different players come into action for them. Mitch had a couple of good rounds with the AWP. Seems like everybody's just picking up that AWP on the side of Dignitas. So whether it's just complete chaos there now, I'm not sure.
They seem to be a little bit disorganized.
Yeah, that's not optimal. Not optimal. But
one way to put it.
I guess, you know, the one thing that, again, it's tough to talk about Dignitas because they haven't necessarily shown us anything really to expand upon,
and then
right?
you add in the roster changes.
Exactly. Like they kind of reset the button when they've already, I guess in a sense they'd already only gone backwards. So hitting the reset button kind of takes you back to start, but still it's tough to find a lot of positives. But the Cash game was the best game of the season they've had so far.
Yeah, that's always fun, having that be a loss. Pimp, let's take, I want to do the roster discussion, but the roster change discussion, but I want to go to a different angle. Cloud9 reportedly going to be replacing Skadoodle. We've heard some rumors that it's going to be JDM. Who knows who it's actually going to be, but obviously you want to bring some kind of an upper. It feels like these past 2 days he might be one of their best players that in the games that we've seen these past couple days. Are they going to miss Skadoodle? Is there an upper that they can replace him with that will really lessen the sting of that change?
It depends how much money they want to spend, and is that simple?
That,
I feel like if you honestly compare Skadoodle to JDM, I don't think there's too big of a difference. Two different type of players, but I've played with JDM, and I know he's a guy that needs space and he needs to be catered to. He needs to have a guy like Cold Zero Taco, like them being a pair. Then JDM also needs a guy, you know, to cater up to him and flash for him and set him up to do the great stuff. Then he's able to deliver, obviously, but there's not space for that in Cloud9. So I'm not really seeing him joining Cloud9 as being a positive. On the other hand, you know, Skadoodle has had so much time to actually show that he can be, you know, the guy we always, you know, we've been waiting for this guy for 3 years, you know. He showed glimpses of it all the time, but he's never been consistently that, like, star AVP player that we want from an NA guy. So look towards Europe, spend a lot of money. Yugi, for example, in Heroic right now, playing for them. They're not really doing anything. He's one of the biggest and hottest prospect in the entire European scene. So go spend some money and get a real player in there.
You know what? If you want to save some money, I've got a different proposition for you.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I like this.
This is yeah. Pimp, main offer. No, but you know, back to reality.
They've tried that. It used to before. Let's leave it alone.
No, we're actually going to stay in North America for this one, and we've actually seen him in action.
He's going to say Wardell now.
Wardell.
Yeah. Okay.
God,
just bring it on. I mean,
you lost your mind.
I've heard this a lot. I don't know if I like it.
No,
he's a little green in the
yeah,
teeth,
no, he's definitely a little green. He's definitely had some, you know, rough history when it comes to changing teams and then changing back again.
There's that.
But where else do you go? Again, if we want to, you know, we talked about how we don't like seeing necessarily the same players recycled in and out, especially when they've had the shot and multiple chances at that. I think that kind of goes to, you know, you put JDM in the same category as that. Not that he necessarily failed with his career in Liquid, obviously massively successful, but I don't think that's the right move for Cloud9. And when you look down the list as to what kind of offers you can bring into the team, then, well, I guess you get Kusta and Torqued.
I'm all about that. I'm all on. I'm still driving that Kusa hype train, baby.
I'm still on the Kusa train as well, but again, like, is he going to be able to make that shift? We already saw him having issues when he got the chance initially. Hopefully, you might have learned something from that. Again, he was a very different player in CLG with FNS.
Yeah.
At the Shield, so that could be something that they considered. But Wardell so far in Pro League,
we're just gonna stop you because I can see Pim's getting angry. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna decrease the stress levels. We're gonna send it to a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna do some cool stuff, and including that, the hot match of the week: Team Liquid taking on Energy, the best 2 teams in the division, coming right at you. Stay tuned.
You guys lost.